Show of hands, how many people have never seen me speak live before? All right. Not that I want to tell you not to pay attention to me, but let's watch how well the captioner keeps up, because I talk really fucking fast. And I'm probably going to drop a couple F-bombs because I get passionate, and we'll see. Are they actually going to put those in there? Let's wait. See, they didn't do it. So anyway, oh, they did do it. Sweet. Okay, so we're doing Batman's tactical guide to local SEO today. So this is me. That's a picture of me speaking at MozCon. It's fun. I have a weekly video series called Local Search Tuesdays. It comes out every Tuesday. It comes out in the afternoon for Europe because it's in the morning in the US. So it's short 3 to 5 minute clips about local SEO and how to be better. And they're really goofy because I'm goofy. I have like an evil twin because I shoot in front of a green screen. I have conversations with myself. I do goofy stuff. So go watch the videos. They're awesome. Also, throughout the presentation, I only had a certain amount of time, and there's hours of things to talk about when it comes to local SEO. So there are periods where I will mention something and not dive in as much detail as I'd like, but there will be a little blue link in the corner like that and a video thumbnail so you know, hey, this is a video that I can go watch to learn more about this topic. So pay attention to those, and if you happen to be writing notes or if anybody's watching the live stream and you're going to write these down, make sure you do them in lowercase because they're case-sensitive links. But also, I am obviously a goofball the way I'm speaking there. I speak at a ton of conferences. I did 32 live conferences last year alone. I'm all over the world, and sometimes, not today, because all the speakers are stellar today, but sometimes you see those speakers who aren't as engaging live. So typically there's like a podium on the stage, and the speaker stands locked behind the podium the whole time, and they talk kind of quietly in a monotone like this. And that's not engaging, and it's not fun, and they may have great information, but then even a lot of times you're just watching the back of their head, because sometimes conferences don't have the little monitor here where we can see what's going on. So then they're standing behind the podium talking in the monotone like this, and you're watching the back of their head, and they're just reading their slides. And even worse, there's no design to their slides at all. It's just a plain white background, and they don't have any screen captures, they don't have logos, they don't have anything, and they just use black Arial font, and they pack every slide with bullet points. So they're just sitting there reading bullet points for the entire presentation. And that's no fun. And you may not know this, but it's a scientifically proven fact that bullet points kill kittens. So today we're going to keep all of the kittens safe. And for those of you that haven't ever seen me speak either live or online before, I am a movie nut. This week I will hit 900 movies in my iTunes movie library. Thank goodness we have movie production back. I literally go to the theater every Friday night with my family and see a movie every week. I was a film major in college. I've got both of my arms sleeved up with portraits of different movies, and my whole right leg is tattoos of the Goonies. So every time I do a presentation, I like to share my love of movies along with my love of digital marketing. So today's theme is superhero movies. So we have 103 different superhero movies referenced in today's presentation, including at least one superhero movie for every year in the last 50 years. So not only will you learn some awesome stuff about how to show up better in search results, you'll have a kick-ass list of movies to watch later. Who's pumped? So I know there's some younger people in the room, and you're not going to know all the movies, so there is attribution over to the side. But I want you to pay attention to at the beginning. I was talking last night that I wasn't going to point this out, but I decided to point it out. The first bit after I get past my jokey intro is all of the Batman movies in order of release date. And then directly after that, it's all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies in Marvel Cinematic Universe timeline order. So it is super nerdy if you're a movie person. Who is ready for some awesomeness? So why the long face? Are you spending too much time looking up at local businesses that are ranking higher in search results? I know local SEO seems a little bit more complex than regular SEO, and a lot of people don't really get it, and they think it's really hard, but you don't have to have a huge brain to understand how to succeed and show up well in searches. Even though a lot of times, with all the stuff that you're doing, it feels like it's a lot of magic or voodoo, it's really not. So today, I'm gonna share a lot of hot tips with you so that you'll be able to... Nobody's laughing. That's a funny joke, guys. I said hot tips, his head's on fire. Come on. I've got hot tips to share with you today. You're going to be able to crush your competitors in the search results so that your sites will kick major ass. So, we're talking about local today. How many people in here are either in-house or work with clients that need local SEO, or maybe you don't know you need local SEO, but you serve customers in a face-to-face basis at a brick and mortar location. How many people in here? It's like a lot of people, right? So I'm here for you. This is your talk. The local algorithm is different than a traditional algorithm. You have to unlearn some things that you've learned. There are additional factors that the local algorithm pays attention to that the traditional algorithm completely ignores. So today I'm going to walk you through some of those things, because if we know that the algorithm is different, we should have different strategies for what we're doing with those clients, because you can't take the regular SEO stuff and apply it to local. So for those of you that weren't quite sure, the easiest way to know, whoops, I did that, I went too fast. This is a weird clicker. The easiest way to know if you need local SEO is that you do face-to-face business with customers at a brick and mortar location, or you do face-to-face business with customers at their location, like a service type of business, like a plumber or an electrician. Or because Google's algorithm has evolved, sometimes you might think, oh man, I'm just e-commerce. I don't do face-to-face business. But you might actually need to do local SEO, because there are certain queries that Google will assess local intent on that still matter to you as an e-commerce business. So you need to understand these strategies and tactics so that for those particular search queries, you could still achieve good visibility. So another way to really test it, the most infallible way, take a couple of your big money keyword phrases. Do a search, don't include a city name in that search query or a phrase like near me or nearby. And if the map pack shows up for you, that is the clearest indication that Google says this search has local intent, and those search results are powered by the local algorithm. So you really need to pay attention to a study that happens every year called the Local Search Ranking Factor Study. If we were going to take every speaker today and put them all, well, obviously some of the speakers aren't really like SEOs, but let's assume we all know enough about SEO to optimize the site. We took all the speakers, put them up on stage, picked somebody's site at random out of the crowd, and had each person say what they would do to optimize that site. We would all do it differently, but we'd all touch the same elements on the site because we all know what Google's algorithm is looking at. So that's the thought process here. They take the top experts across the planet and send out this really in-depth survey. Full transparency, I've been one of those people for like 10 years now. This year it was 44 people. Takes about 3 hours to fill this out. It asks about positive factors, negative factors, competitive factors, foundational factors, and all these other things. And then they aggregate everything together, and you get a pretty good handle on what matters. So you get two pie charts. One that shows you the factors that influence your visibility in the map pack or in Google Maps, because Google Maps is actually powered by the local algorithm. And notice how big that green section is there. That's your Google Business Profile section, and that's where all of the location and proximity factors live. And that's why you'll see different map results depending on where you're searching from in the real world. But then you get another chart that shows you the factors that influence your visibility in localized organic, because if a map pack is displayed on the page, that's not the only thing powered by the local algo. It actually powers all of the search results. So this is like your Bible. It shows you what matters most if you want to show up in local search results. So I like to use pizza as an example of how the local algorithm works. And we do this with clients all the time. And throughout the presentation, I'm going to have a couple of really boiled down simple concepts, because you kind of get overload at a conference. You'll hear all these things and you're so jazzed, and then you get back and it's hard to put into practice any of the things that you learn. I like to boil these simple concepts down because it makes it easier for you to remember and easier for you to implement when you get back. Plus, when you're trying to pitch clients, you can use these examples. So the pizza example, if you're sitting in your office and you type 2 words into Google, pizza delivery, you get a list of all the pizza spots right there by your office. Then you could go try the same search at home with the same 2 words, pizza delivery, and you get completely different search results. With traditional SEO, that shouldn't be possible. But with local SEO, your location in the real world, when you're doing the search, and your proximity to the search results influences what you're going to potentially see. And so this really illustrates to people that don't get SEO, when you're talking to like those clients that can barely turn on a computer, they understand it then. Because then you could say, look, you didn't type your city, you didn't type near me or nearby, and you still got different search results. That's how local SEO works. So it's not just optimization for the internet. This pairs really well with what Jess was talking about earlier. We have to talk about user experience as well when we're doing SEO, especially in local, because we know the more expensive you skew for product or service, the more research people are going to do before they submit a lead, which means they are going to look at your competition. And you want to stand out. You want to be memorable. So it's not just let me optimize for the algorithm, it's optimizing for the public, for humans. You've got to give people a reason to come back to your site. So that's a big change in the way we think about search, because before, traditionally, it's let's optimize so we show up in Google and we'll magically get customers. In local SEO, we're a little bit less worried about that because we know that people are shopping around and we want to show up and be cool and helpful so that people will come back later because they're likely not going to convert the first time they come to our website. So that's a really important thing to remember, because if you got the same generic bullshit content on your site that everyone else in the area has on their site, why is anybody going to care? Why is anybody going to buy from you? So your content needs to prove to everyone in the local area why you are awesome and why no one should consider buying from anyone else in the area except you. It's not about we've got a shiny new facility or we treat customers like family, because everybody has that bullshit on their site. This is a true value proposition of what makes you unique and why you're awesome. So make sure that your content is actually about your business, not the same generic, hey, we're a plastic surgeon, come see us. What's different about you? And make sure your content is about the local area. There's a really easy way to test that. Take your homepage content or your About Us page content. Look at that content. Every time the city that you're actually located in appears, you change it to a different city. Every time your business name appears, you change it to a different business. So let's say you've got a business located right here in town. Could you take that content, change the name of the business in the city, and change it to London and put it on a similar business's website in London? Does the content still work? If it does, it's not really about you or the local area. So it's a really easy way to test that. Another important test for your content is to read it out loud. And I'm not talking about just thinking through it. I'm talking about you grab another person and you physically say it out loud, because we all have our marketing blinders on. We are seeing keywords on the page and thinking that's a good thing, but you don't realize that it doesn't sound conversational unless you read it out loud. And everything needs to sound like something that you would say face-to-face to a customer that just walked in the front door of the building. You want a cool campfire story? Yes? So I was speaking at PubCon about 2016, and this guy came up to me, and back then I was working in an agency that only did SEO for car dealers. And so he came up and he said, hey, I'm a car dealer and I'm in Dallas. I'd love your help. And to this day, what is this, 7 years later, I still try to kick myself in the ass every time I bring this story up, because I didn't take a screen capture, because at the time, we only took screen captures as someone actually became a client. So I don't have proof of this, but trust me, it's a true story. The homepage content on this guy's site sounded like this. If you want to buy a Ford pickup in Dallas, come to our Ford pickup headquarters, or we sell more Ford pickups than any other dealer in Dallas that sells Ford pickups. So when you're ready to buy your next Ford pickup, come to our Ford pickup headquarters. We'll give you the best deal on a Ford pickup of anybody in Dallas that sells Ford pickups. So the agency that wrote the content for them was like, hey guys, you are going to rank for Ford pickups in Dallas. But every human in Dallas that went to their website read that content and went, what the fuck is wrong with these people? You don't catch that if you don't read it out loud. Or like this, another big thing that people like to do is talk about the areas that they serve. Jono, you want to help me out with this real quick? Come on, just help me out. Imagine I'm a sales guy, and Jono just walked in the front door of the business. And this is how I greet Jono. He's already at my business, and I know he's coming in to buy. And I say, hi, thanks for coming in. Did you know I also serve customers in Garland, Richardson, Plano, Allen, McKinney, the Colony? And I list off 25 cities. Thank you. You would fire me on the spot, right? So don't say that shit on your website. So another simple concept. If you want to show up when somebody types something into Google, you need a singular page of content about that concept on your website. And in local SEO, that page needs to be the best answer to the question just in that local area. You don't have to write the best answer on the internet. You just need the best answer in the local area. And if you're writing the best answer, that probably means you're also going to answer some of the subsequent questions that that potential customer would have once they receive their initial answer. So that's how you write really great content. And then when you're optimizing, you need to optimize differently for the local algorithm than you do for the traditional algorithm. So I'm going to run you through the page elements. Now, every time I mention keyword, that's the keyword phrase for the page, and city, that's the city that you're targeting or the city that you're in. You don't want to mix these up. Same city, same keyword in every element. Really important to drive home to the local algorithm. So title tag, super important. Never put your business name first. You're the only business name that you're inherently going to rank number one every time, especially now that Google's showing the little icon and branding. You don't need your business name in the title tag. So keyword phrase, city. H1 heading, same stuff. Can you have more than one H1 on the page? Sure, but you're a dumbass and you're doing it wrong. Just put one H1 on the page, have the same information there. You need it in the content too, but if you've written the best content, that's the best answer in the local area that also answers subsequent questions and is all about your business and all about the local area, you won't have to do anything here. Alt text on images is another big one. 10 years ago, if you'd seen me speak at a conference, I would have said, Google can't tell what's in an image, so you have to put the alt text in so Google knows. Google knows exactly what's in your images now. It's really scary. But alt text is still part of the algorithm. And if you serve customers that are in the United States, it is actual ADA law that every website has to have alt text on every image. So if you don't have alt text on an image, you can be sued by someone with visual impairment because they use a browser that reads the screen, and the browser that's a text reader can't tell what's in the image. So there have been multiple car dealerships in the United States sued by a blind person because they don't have alt text on the images. And car dealers are like, well, blind people can't buy cars. Yeah, they can. They can't drive them, but they can buy them. So you can still get sued. So you got to pay attention to that. You got to have the keyword phrase and the location phrase in the URL as well. Now, this doesn't mean go change all your URLs, because once a page is indexed, it doesn't really matter. But as you're creating new content in the future, think about that. It's a more friendly URL. And then the meta description, we all know it doesn't play in the ranking algorithm, but you got to write something compelling there, since that's what's going to populate the couple of gray sentences under your blue link. You got to have a blog. A blog is not a luxury for digital marketing. It's really important that you have one. And the main reason is the types of content that you post on your site. The content that's on the main menu of your site is bottom of sales funnel content. It's meant to show up in search results and convert customers. Content that's on the blog is mid to upper funnel content. That's about information. It's about discovery. You shouldn't expect to get conversions from all these blog posts, but you want to target all sections of that buyer journey, because the sooner you're in front of somebody, the more likely it is that you're memorable and they're going to come back later and convert. So make your blog a local destination. And a lot of people poo-poo all over this, but it's a really killer strategy. Write a few posts here and there that are informational posts about the local area that have nothing to do with your business. So do something like, hey, our team loves to go out and grab a burger every Friday for lunch. Here are our 5 favorite burger restaurants in Amsterdam. Boom. That's the kind of content that people are going to search for that aren't looking to buy your product or service, but it's like putting a billboard up and they get brand awareness and brand building because they found this awesome content on your site. So if this is kind of outside your comfort zone, I did a video that has 10 different concepts that you can use for localized informational blog content that you can use as a springboard to then go write your own stuff. And everybody always wants to show up in the 2 or 3 cities over. Or you're in the suburbs of a metro and you want to show up in the main metro. The concept you need to remember is you've got to own your backyard first. Oh, really? I got to go real fast now because I told too many stories. So own your backyard. Have awesome, awesome signals in your backyard so that you're dominating search results in your town before you try to expand. If you're in a rural area, you can create city pages and be okay. If you're in a metro area, you're going to have to be more advanced and create local content silos. Those videos walk you through it. Links work differently for local as well. Authority does not matter in local SEO. You run it through a link tool, it says you've got an authority score of 5 out of 100. Who cares? It's still an awesome link. No follow links doesn't matter. We still have proven time and time again that no follow links carry value in the local algorithm. All you need to worry about is that you're getting links from the local area. If you get involved in the local community, that makes it super easy to get these powerful, awesome local links. So a couple ideas. I'm going to run through them fast because I'm way behind on my time. Local sponsorships, like Pee Wee football teams, 5Ks, golf tournaments. You sponsor those, make sure you get a link. Google's totally okay with you buying sponsorships. They're just not okay with you buying links. Local meetups. Find local meetups using meetup.com or Facebook groups that are looking for sponsors. Throw them 50, 60 bucks a month to buy their snacks and soft drinks if they give you a link. Get the local bloggers to write about you, even if they say they got a free widget for writing about your widget company. Who cares? You get an awesome local link. Ask the staff what they're passionate about. What are their hobbies? What do they do in their free time? Not what the business does, what the staff does. Because if they're involved in a local club or organization, especially if they're in the leadership group of that organization, super easy to get links. Use Google to figure out links for you. Learn to use Search Operator so that you can hone in on those search results and get awesome stuff. I'm sharing our onboarding questionnaire with you today too. This is a really cool 3-page document that asks a bunch of questions that will prioritize your client's vibe towards the things that they want to do to get local links. It's super cool. So, customer reviews, huge part of the algorithm, and they've gotten more important every year for the last few years in that local algorithm. Don't worry about that testimonials page on your website. It's total bullshit. Nobody cares because they know you're only going to put 5-star reviews on there. People want to see honest, unbiased reviews on third-party sites. So you got to be proactive and have an awesome review process. Watch this video. It walks you through it. Basically, biggest concept, make it really easy for people to leave a review because they don't know where to go or what to do. And you have to ask every single customer. And you have to answer every single review that you get. And when you're answering bad reviews, remember, that response is not for the person that left you the bad review. That response is for every other potential customer in the future that wants to see how you handled a bad situation. And the total number of reviews that you have doesn't matter to the algorithm. You just want to make sure that you've got more reviews than the competition in the local area. And make sure that your pace of acquisition for reviews treads that really kind of knife edge of you want to be exactly the same as your competitors or slightly faster than your competitors because you don't want too much more. Cool advanced stuff. If a review includes a photo, it stays in the default sort of top 10 reviews much, much longer. If a review has more text in it, it stays in the default sort much, much longer. And if the review has 2 or more thumbs up, it stays in the default top 10 much, much longer. So if you get a bad review that's showing in your default top 10, all you have to do is add those 3 together. Talk to people that have already left a great review. Say, hey, can you add a photo to your review, add a little bit more text, and then once they do it, you have a couple people at the office go give it a thumbs up, and boom, that bad review gets buried almost immediately. Google Business Profile, real quick at the end. Your Google Business Profile allows you to show up in the map pack. It's your first impression with potential customers. Make sure you fill out everything that you can fill out. Make sure you add UTM tracking to your links because most of the time Google Analytics will attribute it as direct traffic and not as organic, which it really is. Make sure your landing page that you point to from your business profile is optimized around your most important money keyword phrase and the location that you're in. Make sure you've got your correct hours. Make sure you got lots of high-quality photos. Make sure you've got all of the right categories selected and be strategic about what you pick in that first category slot because it carries more weight in Google's algorithm. If you've got problems with your Google Business Profile, never go to Google support because they're fucking horrible. There is a public forum for every Google product, so go to the Google Business Profile Community Forum, post a thread there, and one of the product expert volunteers will escalate that directly to the Google Business Profile team and skip the worthless people in support. So post on that forum. It's awesome. Use Google Posts. They're free ads that show in your Google Business Profile. It is not social media. The secret to success, though, is not what your content is. It's optimizing that thumbnail. Because if the thumbnail's not compelling, nobody's going to click on it. So you want to make sure it's an awesome image and the little snippet of text is really compelling. The problem, though, is the cropper that's included is super wonky. You can put the same image in 5 times, and it'll crop it differently each of those 5 times. So I created a Photoshop guide that you can download at the link right there that gives you more control. When you download it, it looks like this. Anything in that white grid is safe, and that will show in the thumbnail, and then the rest of the image appears when they see the full post. So you can be really creative with some stuff across the bottom bit there and have some extra call to actions that are in the photo, and then that doesn't appear until they see the full post. Make sure you don't use stock images, because if you use a stock image, that post is not going to get as much conversion, as much attention. The posts that have original images perform ridiculously better, so make sure you do that. You need to pay attention to the questions and answers widget. Also, by the way, I know I'm short on time, but are any fans of Toxic Avenger in the room? Nobody's seen it. Go watch Toxic Avenger. It's a horrible movie, but they're remaking it, and Peter Dinklage is going to be the Toxic Avenger. It's going to be amazing. But the questions and answers widget has been there since 2017. It allows anyone to ask your business a question, and any random a-hole can answer that question for you. And it's terrifying. The general public thinks it's chat and that somebody's on the other end waiting to answer that question, but it's really a community discussion widget. And questions can receive multiple answers, and whichever answer is displayed as primary is the one that has the most upvotes or the most thumbs up. So you gotta monitor your answers and make sure that yours are upvoted. You need to load your own questions in. This is totally allowed. Nobody's gonna go to an FAQ page on your site and browse through the 40 questions to see if their question is there and it maybe has an answer. But they will go to the questions and answers section on your business profile and start to type in a question. So if you've preloaded common questions and answered those questions, the really cool thing about the way this works, as they're typing it in, Google will automatically answer the question as they're typing it based on answers to past questions. That went really fast too. There we go. So the auto supply. So now, last really quick thing. I have a little matrix that I use when I talk to particular smaller conferences in the US, and we started using it for every potential client demo that we did. So it's basically a mini SEO audit, and it looks at the 4 major areas that influence visibility: the content on your site and how it's optimized, the links pointed at your site, your Google business profile, and your reviews on Google and Yelp and how you respond to those reviews. Now, it scores on tactics, not on strategy. Because if we scored on strategy, they could take it back to their current provider and they could be like, oh, that's their way of doing SEO, ours is better, just ignore it. But when it's basic tactics, anyone that knows SEO is gonna agree, yeah, this is shit you should probably do. So it's been really effective for us. In fact, when we started using it on our demos, it more than doubled our close percentage. Because we're not giving just a default demo. And we're not even like saying, hey, we'll spend a couple minutes looking at their site so we sound like we looked at them. We're actually doing audits on every site before we talk to them in the product demo. And it only takes about 10 minutes, but it looks like you spent like half an hour going through their site. And because you put that effort in beforehand, they decide they want to work with you because you have a valuable conversation with them in that demo call instead. So those 4 areas are weighted, and you can get up to 100 points on the demo. The highest score we've even seen is our own client, and it was just an 83.6 because it's basically impossible to get 100 points. But the highest non-client score we've ever seen in the last 2 years was just a 65. Some of the things, if they're wrong enough that it's hurting your search visibility. You can get negative points. So the worst score we saw was a negative 58. It was really bad. But the average score is only 18 out of 100. So it really uncovers a lot of low-hanging fruit that you could say, we could fix this. If you'd like to check it out, I'm sharing them with you today. You can download them. The generic one works for any local business. But then we've also customized it because we have a lot of automotive clients. So we've got an auto dealer version. You can download both versions to see what we changed to make it specific to a vertical, so that if you work in a particular vertical, you could do the same thing. The matrix is really awesome for uncovering that easy opportunity, low-hanging fruit kind of stuff. And it's also a great guide for your team for the things that you can do on an initial swing through of optimization that's really gonna move the needle quickly. So it's awesome. Thank you so much for sitting through that massive fire hose of stuff. I'm sorry I had to go faster at the end, but I went too slow at the beginning. Now when you're thinking about how you're showing up in local search results, you're not gonna be down and depressed because you had so many hot tips that I shared with you. And I know I used that again, but this is Ghostwriter 2, so it doesn't count. It's a funny joke. I wanted to use it twice. Now you'll no longer be the underdog in search results, and everyone will be super happy about how you're showing up in search results. That was Batman's tactical guide to local SEO. Thank you for paying attention and watching today. There's my email address. I have an open email policy. I will always answer questions. If you have anything that you want to ask about local SEO, I'm here to help. And if you want to get the slides, I'll send them to you too, because at the end, there's a list of all the movies by order of release date, so you have a kick-ass list of movies to watch. Thank you.